Hey folks, welcome back to the channel. Today's video, we're going to go over an X post from Nikita that provides some information for Tarkov we've never seen before. And with that little bit of information, we can extrapolate some also very interesting info from that. So this stems from a reply from Desmond's post where he was complaining about long queue times and cheaters and how it's going to really screw up Tarkov. Not going to get into the specifics of that. He's right, but more importantly, let's look at what Nikita said. He said, this is a matchmaking wait time chart in seconds. No anomalies detected. Current CCU is something around 45k PvP. This is the chart he shared. Now, it's kind of fuzzy. The quality isn't that great, but you can kind of see, you can make out pretty good information in here. It's basically just a chart over time, wait times, matching times, should I say, of players based on region, you know, Africa, Asia, Europe, Middle East, Oceania, Russia, South America, and USA. So while this is a simple reply, this is info we've never seen before, and it cracks the door into player counts. Now, obviously, this is just a snapshot, and it would be great to see more of the trends and comparisons to dates in the past, but this is all we get for now. So first, let's clarify some of the terms and specifics here. Matchmaking wait time isn't the total time it takes you to get into raid. It's just the time you spend matching. It's that first little counter on the clock before you start loading loot and all the other stuff. This can be less than half to as little as a quarter of the total time you spend before you get into raid. The process of loading the map and all of that info happens after you go through matching. And that process is sometimes quick, but for maps like Streets or Lighthouse or Customs now, it can take anywhere from 3 to 4 or 5 minutes, depending on the player's PC. And everybody waits on the slowest person's PC. So if somebody's playing on a 10-year rig with an H hard drive and they've managed to figure out how to make it work, but it takes them 6 minutes to load Streets, everybody who matched with that person is going to sit there and wait for 6 minutes for that person to load. And again, this chart is also an entire region, which means it's probably averaging every player over every map on both the left and the right side time selections. So while the average matchmaking time here in North America goes anywhere from like 120 seconds, 2 minutes to 3 minutes, basically, that definitely doesn't tell the whole story. It will be 100% skewed to a lower time than what the median time is that people see. And this is because more people matching in a place inherently means faster queue times because there's more people to match with. So inherently the average will be on the low end, depending on what map you play. Just for example, if you play nighttime shoreline or interchange, you'll 100% going to see a 4 or 5, maybe even as much as an 8-minute matching time. But if you play factory, you're going to get like 30 seconds most of the time. And way more people churn through factory at 30 seconds than people that play night shoreline. So it's going to skew that average farther down. So while I do think some of the complaints about long matchmaking times are exaggerated, I also know that it's not the whole picture. Players pay more attention to the total time it takes them to get into raid, not really how long it takes them to do some specific segment in that loading process. So if it takes you 6 minutes to load into a match, players generally don't care that they only spent 60 seconds matching. So the frustration and stuff built up for long waiting times to get into raids is a bigger picture than just the matchmaking time. Well, for the more interesting side of things, we have the CCU number, at least more interesting for me. And it's crazy to see Nikita just casually throw this out like this. It just completely tipped me over because BSG has never published or even hinted at player counts before. And for him to casually drop it like this is just way out of the normal. Now, he posted this it's 1:47 my time, but this is 3:47 p.m. Eastern on a Sunday. Now, I went and looked at Steam charts. That is pretty much the middle of peak gaming hours for most games on Steam. Now, I took this snapshot at that time yesterday. If you look at 45,000 players, it puts it right in the top 35 on Steam. You're talking about keeping up with, you know, Dune Awakening, Pal World, Red Dead Redemption 2, over the top of Helldivers even. And again, this is at pretty much peak time for most games on Steam. So while some of you might think 45k players isn't that much, it is actually quite a bit in the whole big picture of things. Keep in mind, this is an unfinished game that has been in development for 10 years with a pretty steep price tag, and at its core is insanely difficult and hardcore, completely aside from the hardcore wipe rule set. For me, I was expecting, just from my rough guesses, you know, 20,000 players, maybe 25,000 in PvP, not 45k. Now, something also to keep in mind, this is just PvP numbers. In the past, we've heard Nikita say that at mid-wipe, PvE is about 50-50 with players to PvP, meaning that they have roughly the same player count. So even if we don't use that number and go say 60-40 PvP to PvE, you're talking 70 to 80,000 players on Tarkov altogether. Now, this is right now, which is not peak gaming hours, but looking at that, if you're talking 70 to 80,000 players, that puts Tarkov in the top 15 games on Steam. It's keeping up with games like War Thunder or Siege, and even freaking Marvel Rivals. So that is pretty impressive numbers if you ask me. Seeing Tarkov in this category of gaming, I think, is a testament to what the game really is and what it could be. Even for all of its problems and all the challenges that we face as players in the game. And I don't just mean the difficulty, I mean bugs and things not working right, and yes, cheaters. The game still has an insanely healthy player base. Now, again, it would be nice to see this comparative to other stuff rather than just take Nikita's word on it. But this is what we have for now. But that's all I've got for today. Just covering the super interesting bit of data we got. So we'll wrap her up there. Please don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button, as it tells YouTube you want to see more of my content, and it just helps me out a ton. But as always, thank you guys for watching and consuming my content. I wish you the best of luck in your raids. We'll see you in Tarkov.